Hello and welcome. This is going to be a video looking at how well Theta is doing against other cryptocurrencies, or rather that, how other currencies are doing against Theta. Now in this case, we're looking at how Theta is doing against BTC. Theta is on the left-hand side, Bitcoin's on the right. And it's pretty much at the lowest end. It's at the bottom area. That's not too good. But when we look at this, this is when the crypto markets and altcoins were topping, and it's had a couple good rally periods ever since, but we'll see how other ones are doing against it. So, how is Bitcoin doing against Theta? Well, I got 1 divided by the number, and that will show me that I can get 76,804 or 5, how around that area, amount of Theta for 1 Bitcoin. So let's take a look at the entire top 100 for the most part. I will not count coins not on Binance or Huobi. And to see how they fare out, I can only go through them very quickly because there are so many of them. I will be using these rankings, so we will see it in this order. Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Binance Coin will show 1 against the dollar. EOS, and so on and so forth. I don't even know if I'm going to be showing this because I don't even know where Leo is. If it's on either Binance or Huobi, I'll show it. And I'm going to focus primarily on the 3-day term time frame. And Ethereum has been in a downtrend, of course. Lots of these lower highs in here. Nice little rally in here, but it has came back down on this low, so it looks like possibly we might be having key high, key low, key high. Of course, starting to go lower. Ripple in this time frame, lots of nice volatility when you see these moves that come into play, which is the whole point of it. And I want to show not only for myself, but everybody else, well, not for everybody else, but for myself, for both of us, basically, how some of these crosses look. Maybe you might see one that you might want to be considering playing. Well, I'm going to show you a lot of these charts in Ripple. You can see some of these nice up and down movements, but it looks like just like Ethereum, from this low, it looks like it's ready to roll over now, breaking down below this low. Against Litecoin, we see a lot of just sideways neutrality for the most part. We started off in here, we were up here, we came down here, we've managed to go up here, back down to the middle part of this chart at 722. But like a lot of this is going to see this up move starting to decline, as that has been, of course, that was the theta part of the theta decline from its 5,000 high. As far as Bitcoin Cash is concerned, it's been a large downtrend again, up move, and starting to show its decline going further. Binance Coin against Theta is actually doing good, but Binance Coin is kicking some serious butt. But if you're a heavy, big time player in trading, you need to have 100 Binance Coin. I think it's 100 on your balance. I don't think it's 1,000. It might even be 1,000 actually. But you need to. The way it works out for Binance fees, you pay 0.075% as long as you have enough Binance coin to cover it. But if you're a more active trader, you can get cheaper fees along the way. So it's one of those coins you have to get your better fees on there. And Binance Coin is really kicking everything's ass. There's a couple like Chainlink we'll get to. That's a spoiler. Chainlink is doing well against every coin as well. And it'll be up against Theta. But a lot of these coins will not. And even against this on the short term, it looks like Theta, will every one of these look bearish, or does Theta look bullish against every coin? We'll see in time. Tether is next on the list, but we'll use the true US dollar for it's pretty much the same thing, or how Theta and the dollar is going. Right in the middle, just hanging in there, going sideways for the most part. It was down here, it was up there. Right now, you can get eight of these Theta for $1. Next up is EOS, which a little bit of it's had a decent decline from here. Looks like there might be a little bit further when we take a look at this. But just a lot of this up and down choppy action. Leaving the middle part area for where this was, we look at this high, we look at this low. Number 10 on the market cap is Stellar Lumen. Ticker symbol XLM, and totally a decline. Nice up and down, choppy action. The low in here is about 0.54. We got a high about 4. And I'm not going to go over these numbers, but you can just pause the tape to see the key highs and lows. And just, yeah, because the bigger they are for the moves, the better. But Theta in itself is pretty volatile. They all should have decent sized moves. Cardano, from the outset, has been in a downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. This last little move in here, just coming back to this area where he came from and starting to go down. 0.47, it was at a point quarter area. And it started this off firmly in the early stages at almost 4. Tron is a very good choppy market within Theta. As we can see in here, just all these nice up and down moves. It's at the lower end of it. We have high, okay size bits and pieces. But obviously, it's looking to possibly have a nice leg lower, though, as we look at this level of previous support in here. And even looking at it in this way here, this conjunction area as support has been a conjunction area here of resistance. Now getting down below this low. Will we come down here, spend extended time with this low, maybe break it? Well, time will only tell. But like a lot of these coins, again, breaking down or looking to possibly go lower. As far as Monero is concerned, which is next on the list, nice up and down movements. Obviously in decline near the lower end of this chart, 2/3, which means it's a 3-to-2 ratio of the coins. And Theta, of course, worth more, that this is under 1. And we can see after resisting this area, it's looking to at least come back to this point. But when you're in this downtrend, it could very easily take it out. Maybe it comes down there, spend some time there, be possibly resisting in this area if there's any rallies and such. But like a lot of these other coins, not doing as well against Theta. Next up is Dash at 892 right now. Very much a similar thing. Having this double top in this area of previous support in here. The level at 1,030 area has been taken down. Just doing a lot of this descending triangle stuff. So it looks to me as if we could have further lower price on this, or Theta overperforming Dash in the near term. As far as Neo is concerned, 92 to ratio. It was close to 1,000 before. Just saying, and as low here is 50. Does this look like a failed breakout here? Getting above this level of resistance, not doing so well, back in this congestion area. I'd say possibly. We can see in here, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this breaks down. But then the market will do what it does. But again, they all look in the very similar sort of field. IOTA, same field again, breaking down from this high. Has this been in a really a consistent downtrend since the start of Theta's opening? In at number 18 is Chainlink, and it is doing damn good. Right now, it is 18 of them. 18 is how much for on the price against 1 Theta, which means I need 1 Chainlink to buy 18 Theta. I think it should be, because Theta's worth less. And the start of a downtrend in here, but really since for a year now, since these end of the month June lows. Nice little gain here. It's the small pullback. Of course, this is during the gain of Theta, and a little bit of a pullback now it's had, like a lot of them have so far, down in this 18. Could it potentially come back down to where we came from? If it does, it'd be looking between 6 and 11 and change. Next up is Atom, which is Cosmos, but they haven't been around for a while, so we don't have as much data on the 3-day, of course. But straight down, obviously in a downtrend. For this case, we'll look at it on the daily chart. And the next one on the list is that of Tezos. And it too, I got data going back from December of last year, but amongst it, it's a nice big down move, but good volatility, 10.5 to 2, up to 15. But on the short term, what do we see here? Okay, come up to the 18, and look at how it's just grinding its way, matching this level of support in here. To me, this looks poised to at least come down. And I wouldn't be surprised to say, hey, you know what, it should go to 5. But we'll see. The market will do what it needs to do. Next up is Ethereum Classic, series of lower highs and lower lows. After this big resistance near the 70 mark, has broken down. Maybe it'll find a little bit of resistance, but then before it has more of a breakdown, maybe the breakdown on it is done. But of course, this thing, when you look at it just in this point of view here, you come down, matches low, just these little 3 days in here, or these 3 periods. I mean, it's poised for the largest red size move since this high. I'm not saying again that it will, but to me, when I look at this tells me that Theta might be one of the early movers coming in here. NEM or New Economy Movement looking like a lot of the other ones, resisting this area of support, breaking down below the 18, like a lot of the other ones, just in the early breakout stages from here, which means there's a good distance here to this point quarter level. That's at a half right now. Ontology is next, which had an amazing move early on in its early beginning, as this ratio went from 8 1/3 up to over 50, but has then since declined down to this 5.5 mark. Nice little triple hit top area in this area of about 13 and change, but since breaking down below the support, seen a lot of sideways consolidation amongst it. So it's had enough time and energy at this high sevens price, and it could very easily go down soon. But to me, another bearish looking setup nonetheless. And at number 25 is ZEC or Zcash, and failed break it. Nice little rally I'll give ZEC, having a double move, not only to this leg, but having another leg higher. But it's obviously giving it back. And like a lot of them, we can just see just the lower volatile hanging in there since these decent declines. Crypto.com chain is ticker symbol COR, and it's available on Huobi. And the reason why I'm only selecting Huobi or Theta is because those are the two exchanges you can find Theta on. But on the daily chart, interesting failed breakout in here, but this is the early look on it. Next up is Doji, and beautiful choppy action, I think. As far as its volatility, we got a handle of the 113 going up to 730. That's okay, but it's Doji. Bitcoin Gold next on the list, and it had this failed rally from June of 2018 to November, and then lower low. And now we're looking at what looks like another possible failed rally. I mean, time will tell if it's a failed one or not, but it obviously shows it's below the 18 average of lows, and has firmly now been below there. That last consecutive period continuation decline, and even this one for that matter is it's lower. And now let's get choppy here with basic attention, and it might be something I need to look into adding as a crossing, as this is very, very choppy. There's not much more else to say about it. We got this upper range between really over 3. This is where it goes to high 2s is the upper end, and the lower end of the support. We've had a few times hit areas around 140, and of course it's been lower than that. It's been as low as 1.05. Next up is ticker symbol VET for VeChain, which has just obviously been in a continuous decline. Failed rally up here, leaving this 18. This looks like a failed breakout back in June. So I wouldn't be surprised if this continuously goes lower, and probably because Theta is going to go up. EGT is Aggregate, which is next, and it is very new apparently. So I'm not going to spend any more time on it. Qtum against Theta will be next, and volatility here 47 down to 12. Nice little rally in here, which means what you sold you could buy back nicely. And we're now 1/3 of the way through. What time do we? Let's continue on further with the next one. At number 35th ranked for that would be Decred, DCR. A lot of choppy movement in here. Back in 2018, we can see 600 as a low, a little under 400. Then we broke down below this trading range. You can make a case for this nice little pattern in here, breaking it to the downside, which then created this one. Huge down move from point breakdown high to point to the low, and then reaching a high back at this former level of resistance. Really a double hit high, lower one, and it's in this sideways consolidation from this point. This is the Huobi token coin, and it's got one of those moves. So if I scale it out so we can actually see it, it looks something similar to this. It's going up, so people are buying the Huobi tokens, ticker symbol HT, and this was a 2-day event. Because if we look at the high in here, 38, no, it's just a 1 day. But the high here, 19,500 compared to, just a sec, how high they bought HT up. But the next one on the list is Omi's Go, or Omizi Go, however it's pronounced, either way. Failed breakout here. You can see the same similar pattern, escaping the 18 lows and just pausing in there really for a little bit. So to me, this looks poised to go down like a lot of these other ones. Next up is Raven Coin. Not as much data in here. We have this high at about 0.58, a low at about 0.10, so close to 6x volatility. But it's showing a lot of weakness here amongst this 18. So I wouldn't be surprised. To me, this looks poised for. I mean, one might be like, okay, wait for it to go down below to here, around like 32 handle. Then maybe you want to quote unquote short this market or bet for it to go lower in whichever form. But that's what it looks like again with yet another one of these charts with a bearish setup. And I'm going to take a look at Nano against Bitcoin after this because this has got a little something different compared to the other charts. What's similar is this downtrend resisting in this general area in here. And it's been going down, but I don't see a little bit of a bearish setup here. So if I take a quick look at Nano itself against Bitcoin, it should have some sort of interesting possible bullish setup in here. Let's take a look on the daily. Yeah, nice little, Nano is something to keep your eye on moving forward. Next up will be LSK. It doesn't have that bullish setup, just a similar again setup here, leaving this 18 declining facet. BitTorrent is next. I'm going to spend little time with it, but you can see it's in a bearish setup. And we're seeing a real ass kicking here next with Bitcoin Diamond. Back in the early days was like 382, 400. Down to 4 and change. Multiple resistance high above 10. Now it's 6.5. Again, one of those little just grinding its way lower bearish setups. Well, not so good for them. And when we look at Bitcoin Diamond against Bitcoin, was 4,000, 3,000, now it's 84. Huge ass kicking whoop there. Next up is ticker symbol HOT, H-O-T. But it actually is looking like it might want to break out. So let's take a look at HOT just on its own. Does it have a hot setup? And pun intended. Not really. Interesting. It looks like its volume. It looks like its trading volume is pretty nothing. This is Bitfinex, which is why. Okay, maybe I have to write. Okay, I have to write in better. So if I go Binance, Hot BTC, and I've been using Theta just because they have a bit more data. Yep, that should work. Okay, that's different. Well, much different look on the chart, and that's like a weird head and shoulders-ish or so pattern, I guess. But focusing on the 3-day, definitely the volatility is in play. You can see that head and shoulders-ish pattern kind of well, with the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. I would consider the neckline area to be somewhere in here, so it should continue to go down there, I would think. Next up is 0x, and yeah, a decline there. As far as waves is concerned, that brings a little interesting aspect because of really what happened here. Like, what a huge move this was. When waves had a monstrous gain from here, this was a combination of Theta going down and waves going up. I mean, it's given it all back and then some, but the trading opportunities have been there. In fact, this is at like lowest prices really on this chart. So we could, who knows, maybe go down to 5, 4, 2, 1. We'll see. And next up is NPXS or Pundai X. Resisting in here and just starting to break down from in here. Final chart number for this video. We'll do a part 2 after this. And that'll be ICX. This is number 50 on the coin market. Number 51 is Komodo. So that'll be the first one we'll look at is Komodo and Theta on the next part. This was near 50. Now it's at like barely over 2. Pretty much at the lower ends. It's been going down for a little bit. Of course, in the downtrend, a lot of this is looking like this. It'll move like this, a little bit down in this little sideways consolidation. But thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching this when it's recently updated, you might wait a bit. I might go a few hours before doing part two. I'm not sure yet. And if you've watched this maybe on another day or hours later, part two should already be ready to be watched. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.